Everyone, welcome to the first HT.S podcast. We got our three main members here. I'll
Hey.
introduce you one by one. We got Line,
Hey.
and we got Bear.
Howdy.
And then there's me, who I'm sure you can figure out by this point is the only other name at the top of the screen. So, we'll go ahead and get this started. So, first topic, or first question.
Alright, first topic. So, Pepe is back in news today, folks.
Pepe.
So apparently, Pepe the Frog.
Yeah, no, Pepe the Frog.
Sadly.
Yeah. Now, today why he's in the news is because the owner of Pepe is now suing people, including InfoWars, and InfoWars shot back. You want me to give you the video?
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Alright. Anyway, so yeah, Pepe's been going around on every single content creator's YouTube that it's big right now and suing people. Or, the owner of him. What is your response about that shit? Yeah. He's going around suing people for using a meme.
I can't
Okay.
exactly blame him, though.
You can't, but at the same time, it's like such a widely used thing. To the point where like suing people for using the name Band-Aid.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that him as a person, like the way he wanted that comic to be, it was definitely not how it came out, and I don't think like anyone knows the comic at this point. I think people just know Pepe the Frog as Pepe the Frog, the meme, not really as the comic book little thing he made,
Right.
comic strip. I'm not sure. I didn't read it myself, so I don't fully know either.
Like, I think it's become so well known to where it's not even like part of his thing. It's just like a community-wide thing now.
Well, it also depends on what kind of meme that you use it as, too. If it's an intellectual property that's been edited, technically that falls in the lines of fair use, depending on how much has been changed from the original source material.
Oh.
So he can't really take down much, depending on if it's memes, because that's technically modified material, which could fall into the fair use act type thing.
So you're saying he could lose a fight against InfoWars, which is probably going to be the first fight that's ever been lost against them.
Probably. I don't know too much about copyright stuff. I just know a few things. YouTube's probably the biggest that uses that kind of thing when they edit videos for commentary and stuff like that. That's falls into the fair use thing. They're putting in their little 2 cents and their work on making the commentary, and it's become their own content.
You got a point there, actually. Shit. I didn't think this was going to go this fast. Okay.
Honestly, I find it pretty ironic, too, that YouTube actually uses fair rights laws as if they were actually, a thing, when they don't obey pretty much any other law, because it's a private company, they don't have to obey any law, actually. As long as them as a...
YouTube channel,
basically, you could get fucking flagged and, like, deleted all your videos and stuff just for adding, like, one bit of politics to the video, but fair use is still a thing. A very heavy thing.
Yeah. Now, the question, I guess, would be, how much is, fair use? That's something that you can't really necessarily measure most of the time. A lot of the time, some of those people will lose rights to their content because, there could be a battle where saying, like, oh, this just isn't enough to dignify it as fair use.
Damn.
So there's a lot of battling with that with that content stuff. So in the regards of the Pepe the Frog meme, it depends on the meme and what's been changed that could be used in the fair use thing, which falls in line with copyright. They can use it, they can redistribute it, it becomes their content.
Okay, so you're saying the suing is not going to fall, on the right side of this whole entire contradiction.
It depends on the content who he's suing. If it's a blatant, unchanged source material, yeah, he could take that down. That's his content. But if it's like the many Pepe frogs that have been like hand drawn.
Oh, so I'm getting it now. So you're saying like if it's under the Parody Act, then it's okay.
Yeah. So as long as it has, some some work put into it and a lot of change from the original source material, it kind of falls in the line of fair use. If it's just a copy, 1-1 copy kind of deal, that kind of doesn't count as fair use, even if it's, there's some things that fall in that line, which also means that technically, even if you hand draw it, but it's the same one by one or comparison between the two, it still could technically fall in line with
Only
his
if you were to
side.
sell it, though.
Only if you were to sell it or use it or whatever. And anyway, if it's personal use, I doubt there would be any kind of suing involved. But usually,
So I feel like Twitch would be the problem with that then, because I know a lot of artists on Twitch who basically, make Pepe the Frogs, like in different varieties.
oh well, the different varieties is a different thing. That falls into fair use. That's different from the source material.
Oh, okay.
Really, the only thing that would be similar would be the face, the facial features, and it being Pepe the Frog. If he's wearing a different, outfit or in a different context, that's totally fair use.
All right. Well, shit. This became pretty good. I thought this was gonna go the other way around. All right. So what do you got? All right. So what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to do news or games?
I think we should go for another news topic. I don't know.
News topic. All right.
Yeah.
The Fire Festival. You guys heard about this?
Nope.
I have not.
Ooh, I have something you guys don't know then. All right. So imagine on Instagram, all these Instagram models are promoting a place called the Fire Festival in the Bahamas for a cheap price of $1,000 to $100,000 for the stay, right? Now, everyone is excited for this shit. You got people like with the Kardashians, promoting this and all that. Everyone gets there in these broken down buses in this crowded airport, right? And you know what they see?
What?
They see evacuation tents on the beach. The same type of tents you see after a tsunami has hit a beach.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. It was so bad to the point where people had to leave. There was no food for anybody. What is it? Oh, my dog's trying to get on me. Basically, it was a giant ass sham in the Bahamas. And not just to mention that, people were stranded there because they lost all their money.
Right.
Right? So he had the government get in and basically try to kick these people out of the Bahamas because nobody wants them in there.
Oh.
So this leads to giant ass lawsuit against the person who made the fire festivals. And this week, he is guilty of 2 charges of wire fraud for faking the numbers to all his investors and shit, and basically causing this giant, problem. All the Instagram models have now just delete their tweets, act like it doesn't exist. And my question is, how the fuck does something like this become popular so easily?
Well, what do you mean by popular?
Like, something like this festival becomes so popular with everything being fake.
Money.
There had to be somebody who had to...
and sponsoring.
But there was no money, though. That's a problem.
It depends on what the festival was coming out to promise. We're talking about the people who were involved with it.
Well, I mean...
Oh, no, you had people like Blink-182 that are said to go, but to be honest, they canceled before they even got there.
Blink-182 and Kim Kardashian in the same place kind of gives me this really weird vibe.
Yeah. And, everyone is so excited about this shit because it seemed like such a big show and all that. But in the end, it was just this giant-ass sham where people lost money and never got it back.
Right.
I don't know. I would personally never trust something that I don't know as, like if I knew something were to be, treated like an esports tournament, this honestly just reminds me of, the one esports tournament. I don't remember what it was called, but basically a bunch of, professional esports teams went there, and then it turns out that they canceled pretty much last minute, and everyone was kind of stuck there. I don't remember what it's called, and I don't know if that's the exact story behind it, but I don't know. That's just what it reminds me of, and I personally wouldn't trust something like that unless I knew it were, completely real.
Right, but the problem
a trusted
was,
company.
How do you not trust something like this when you have such big faces basically promoting this, like Blink-182 to an extent. I don't know if they promoted it or not. Then you got, again, the Kardashian, the biggest one of them all. One of the Kardashians, the biggest one, promoting this. And you kind of expect them not to, shame their career on a simple thing like this.
Then again, her entire career was based off of her having sex.
Her sister, yeah.
No. Kim Kardashian got famous off of sex tape.
No, this isn't Kim Kardashian. It's one of her sisters.
Kylie Jenner?
I think, maybe.
Probably, that would make more sense, because she actually has, something in her name. She actually has, fucking makeup and shit like that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this is just a giant-ass legal trouble now that's not ending up anywhere near well. Nobody's getting their money back, and people are just fucked. Anyways, gaming news or news? Because we only got one more news story, and I kind of want to save this one for last.
I want to do
gaming shit.
Gaming? Alright. Have you guys checked the news lately about games?
No, not really. I'm not really
a lot of things came out today.
Inform me.
Black Ops 4.
Oh, I saw that trailer. That looks so bad. Okay, I want to explain my thing real quick. Black Ops 1 was my favorite fucking Call of Duty. It's my favorite Call of Duty of all time. Multiplayer and zombies. It was so much fun. Black Ops 2, it kind of built on the storyline, but it wasn't all that great. Black Ops 2 was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was like a mediocre game. Black Ops 3 was shit.
Yeah.
Just shit. It was just bad. It was a bad game. Well, I know a lot of people like it, but the multiplayer is kind of stale. Basically, when you get into a game, you play the same round repeatedly. It's pretty much like every other Call of Duty, except a lot more stale, I guess would be the way to put it. There's no real differing game styles.
Say Black Ops 3. We all say Black Ops 3 is a big fail, for sure.
Yeah, especially with the zombie storyline. Especially with the storyline they added. Personally, my favorite thing about Black Ops 1 and 2 was the zombie storyline. I didn't really care so much about the campaign. The campaign was great, but the zombie storyline in Black Ops 1 was so detailed and super in-depth. And then Black Ops 2 came out and kind of filled in the gaps, and then Black Ops 3 came out and made it even more complex. For no reason.
Right.
Basically all Black Ops 3 adds was extra storylines and stuff to it that they never finished, and Black Ops 4 is probably going to fuck it up even worse.
To be fair, I know a few people are pretty critical about Black Ops 2. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 were really great games, I think. Story-wise, they were really good. They woven, I guess, the story pretty well from the past to the future. And they did a really good job. Treyarch can do a really good job. The third game happened solely on the success of those two games. Activision said, "Hey, we got to bring out another Black Ops game because Black Ops has this huge following to it since Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. So Black Ops 3 was just a money grab, and I'm assuming Black Ops 4 is another cash grab." You would think Activision would learn from their mistake with Black Ops 3, but it looks like they really didn't.
I mean, alright, on my side of this whole story, I checked out the trailer, and from what it looks like, they actually are continuing on the Black Ops 3 story. Black Ops 2 story, I mean. Black Ops 2 story, sorry. Shit, that could have ended bad.
But there was no point to fill in, or there's no point to continue the Black Ops 2 storyline when the Black Ops 2 storyline was just kind of a fill-in for Black Ops 1.
Yeah, see, the thing is with Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, they're great games. And Black Ops 1 was a really great game, and you wanted more of it. Or I guess, I wanted more from it. Black Ops 2 was the perfect end game for the Black Ops series. You didn't need another 2 more to fill in any of the blanks. Everything worked.
Right, Black Ops 3 came out. It was in the future of Black Ops 2. It was excessive. It was unneeded.
Yeah, it was. Black Ops 2 was the necessary, future and past kind of thing. It had a decent story, and it ended. That's all it needed. Was just an end. There was no looking towards a sequel. There might have been another sequel. I don't know if there was any of that cliffhanger stuff, but it had multiple endings or whatever. But it ended. It was a satisfying end. I wouldn't want another. But they did it anyways.
Alright. Now, one thing I will say about the trailer, though, is that it's unexplainable. There's no real explanation to it. They
So
don't really
that's-
give you any sort of idea of what they are doing with this. They say Mason once in it, and that makes you wonder: is it Black Ops 2 or is it Black Ops 1? It
So
gives you no real indication of what they are planning to do with this story,
I
which
just
bugs the
watched
shit
the
out of
trailer.
people.
I just watched the trailer right now, and you know, if it weren't for the fact that it was an official trailer, I would have thought it was fan made, to be honest, because it was using a bunch of the old footage from like Black Ops 1 and I think maybe Black Ops 2. I don't know.
Right. There's like no ties to it. Like it doesn't hold anything down to like facts of
It's
what
a
this
really
game is going to be.
weak teaser, and I hope this game gets as bad reputation as it does for Infinite Warfare.
Also, thanks to whoever followed us. Who followed us again? Ender?
Wasn't too sure. I didn't really see the name, but thank you for the follow.
Yeah.
I guess the teaser was just kind of lackluster entirely. It was just nothing really showed anything. It didn't show anything about the storyline, what they're gonna do. It didn't show anything. It just showed old clips and old little pieces. And that's all
Right.
it did.
And what the game needs to survive. I understand other games doing a teaser like this, but this game itself needs to survive off of guaranteeing people that this game is going to be good. Because right now it has a bad reputation.
Well, certainly no thanks to Black Ops 3 for that one.
Yeah.
When you look at it, you would never think Black Ops 3 and any of the other previous Black Ops games were connected whatsoever because of how disconnected the story is. It's a completely new story. I would say it's a completely new setting because everything seems completely different from the two games. Since Black Ops 2 is like a near future kind of thing, it does push, some of the future elements things, but it's kind of a believable future 100 or 50 years from now or whatever. Um, it's not too complicated with its technology. A lot of it's pretty simple. It's just design wise. But in the third game, it's gone off the rails. You've got cybernetics and you got friggin' robots and all that stuff like that going to town. So, it's with that and the story being completely disconnected, it seemed like a really bad game, to be honest. The only good thing I heard about that game was the multiplayer, and I doubt that was really all that good.
What, in Black Ops 3?
Yeah, in Black Ops 3.
Oh, it was shit. Man, it was shit. I played with my little brother on my PS4. Ooh hoo hoo.
Like-
Anyway, is that the end of this topic? Oh, sorry.
Alright. I think-
Yeah, we'll stop it there because at this point we'd just be beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Right. Alright. Do you guys want a game reveal or do you guys want a topic?
Just hit us with something random.
Okay. Alright, so PUBG's making a new update with a big update with new maps, emotes, custom game modes, and possible weapons. My question is, do we think PUBG can make a comeback from the uprise of Fortnite?
I played Fortnite. I've not played PUBG. I'm not a big fan of either of these two games. It's just not my style of game, or games, to be honest. The Battle Royale thing, I think the Battle Royale is a tad bit oversaturating in the market right now, and it's extremely. I just lost my train of thought on what I was going to say. It's just not my kind of games. And I think they're those kind of games that they come for a trend and then they're dead, just like H1Z1, which was kind of the similar concept but more towards DayZ and stuff like that. I think PUBG and Fortnite, they're going to come to to a close soon. I don't know how much longer they'll last because they don't really have a whole lot of content to them. Uh, some people would say that there's a lot of replayability, but it's just the same thing over and over. It's just go into a game, kill, die, or win, and then rinse, repeat. There's no progression. There's nothing to really hold your attention any longer on that game. It's just the same thing over and over, and I hate repetitive things. I can't stand them. That's probably why I don't really like the games all that much, is they're so repetitive. DayZ, at least, if we put that in the same area, as these two games, it has this, I guess, the boring grace period that the other two games don't. A lot of them are high octane, quick, fast. Daisy is very slow. You got to get your loot, and everything feels a lot more at stake because you've had to work pretty hard and a long time to get the items and stuff like that. And hopefully here soon that new beta update for Daisy will come out and we'll be able to make bases and stuff like that.
Ooh, I'm gonna love when that thing comes out, if it comes out, and when it most likely doesn't come out. By the way,
It will come out.
hey, all right,
Eventually.
let's be honest here, though. This is being a long ass update.
It's been a long time waiting for that update. But without getting too much into the Daisy part of things, whether I believe PUBG can make it out, I think eventually they will. They always seem to kind of pull some crap out of their friggin' butts to pull some strings or whatever. I don't think. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was gonna add more stuff, but I completely out of thought.
Well,
Alright.
I personally think that PUBG is better than Fortnite in many aspects of just entirety of gameplay. I personally prefer the more competitive aspect of PUBG that it's liking to take other than Fortnite, which seems a lot more arcadey and a lot more, I don't know how to say it. I guess it's just faster paced, more arcadey, more battles in PUBG, but I prefer PUBG overall. It's just a little bit of a better game in my opinion.
Right, it's got more features to it.
Yeah.
Got that. It's got a quality aspect to it. The
It's
high
got
quality.
it's got the mechanics that make it a little bit more interesting, but I think Fortnite's kind of just that free alternative that's a little bit more arcadey and more forgiving to some of the players who are trying to get into it.
Right, and that's what makes Fortnite so good, because you can literally download it and play it. You don't need to spend money on it. You don't need to do anything to it. You don't need to know much about the game, and you just pick up and play it.
And it's a pretty
Yeah.
simple game to understand how to play too.
Right, and that's what makes most games easy to play. Like Call of Duty, that was easy to play. You just need to hold the left trigger, and you need to press the right trigger.
I guess that's a fair point, actually. It might also be one of the reasons that some games push people away because of overly complex just design in general. Like Arma 3, for instance. Pretty much anyone who likes Arma 3 has been playing it for some while.
Right, and then
Or-
learn the controls after like a week.
Yeah. And those are only basic controls. I'm still learning controls for Arma 3, and I've been playing it for like 100 plus hours now.
Oh man, I'm always learning new controls in that fucking game.
But I don't know. I don't like the direction that PUBG is going to be taking with esports, though. I really don't like that idea, especially with the just complete. I understand like the competitivity of the game, but I don't think it should be in esports just because of how random it is. You're basically just giving money to people on a random chance that they find something good and kill the other team first.
Right. I honestly don't see like the potential in either in being an esport, because you got nothing to hook people to it either. Because like people are just gonna be go into the ground, your favorite team will be doing that, and then they just die to another good team. And then you just have to wait a whole entire fucking period until you can see your team do something again.
I don't know, other esports games like Dota or League of Legends and Counter-Strike, they all have something in common. That's basically like the competitivity factor of it. It's just pretty much teams always butting heads. Like, for instance, League of Legends, you start off, you either play one of the lanes or you play jungler or something, and you start off at a decent start as long as your team is good. And same with CSGO, you get to a good start if your team is good. PUBG, it's you drop in, hope to God you find something, and then you win.
Yeah.
And if you find the fucking scar, you win the game. Right there then.
I just personally don't think. Honestly, I'd be surprised if PUBG were to like make it a proper esports game. Like, it's a simple game to you can easily just go in, watch it. It's a pretty simplistic game, so it would make for a decent esports game. Like, you don't have to have a big knowledge of games to understand what's going on. Like with
Right.
League is like for a certain type of player. CSGO is one of those games that you can watch it on esports, and you don't have to know anything about it, but you can actually watch it and understand it. PUBG has that aspect, so it's possible, but I don't see the true competitive nature of PUBG. But I'd like to see them pull something off. It'd be pretty
Right.
great if they did that.
I can kind of see like the attempt of the esports aspect, but I can't see the long-lasting, efforts of it. people wanting to start teams and shit and go out on these things for like this very big and wide esports tournament of 100 people going against each other.
I don't know
Or
if it would.
not 100 people going against each other, but like, fucking 20 teams going against each other every single round
Yeah.
just to win one.
I just don't see an esports for that game if it's in that scale. Like you have to get 100 people for that esport. I mean maybe, but to me it just sounds way too big. And if you dumb it down to like a couple of teams, you're still looking at a huge map. So I don't really know a whole lot about esports stuff other than like Counter Strike esports.
That's all
so
you really need to know, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because like esports, it's basically sports, but with games.
I know it's usually just another 5-man team against another 5-man team, and that's basically esports for you.
Yeah. All right, next topic.
Go for it.
All right, new game announced, and nobody cares about it. The Division 2.
Oh, fuck.
Wow. We didn't
Uh-huh.
see that one coming.
I
Nobody
honestly
wanted
didn't.
that.
Ugh.
Absolutely nobody wanted this game because everyone got burned out of it within the month. Yet it's now got a sequel.
You know, it's such a cool
What is it gonna-
concept for a game, though.
It is a good concept, but what is it going to be like? Destiny 2? Where it's literally the
was
same
a
game,
good
just
concept.
repurposed?
It was a good concept that was executed poorly with
That's
poor
Ubisoft
mechanics
for you.
and not anywhere near what anybody wanted it to be. Nobody wanted it to be a competitive shooter, which it became.
Yeah.
Honestly, the idea of the game, when I first heard of it, it was a good game. It basically had the H1Z1 treatment, where H1Z1 at the start was supposed to be this really in-depth, really fun, really cool, like, zombie survival game where you could build your own house and have your own electric, like, you could build every little detail of your house due to the wiring and, like, the electricity of your house. But then that part of it flopped because the development team didn't want to actually put the fucking time into it. And so that was never actually part of it. And then they couldn't get money off of that because people already realized that they had no more potential. So they just made a battle royale. They made that as their secondary thing, and that became more popular than the survival aspect of it. Division 2 is just gonna flop like just Destiny 2. What I would probably think it would be is the same game, just like retextured, everything. Just it's the same game, just a sequel to it, just a second version of it.
All right. Honestly, I don't see this game going anywhere either. What is it? The first game just flawed to shit and back. The first beta, everyone saw the level system, and the level system killed it for people because they realized, wow, you're gonna get the exact same weapon over and over again, but at a different level. That is not satisfying. You want to have a different weapon with different sound to it and different aspect to it. You want to have different variety to your weapons. Like, oh hey, you got this vector machine gun. It can shoot super fast, but it has a small clip and it's fucking horrible with long range. What is it? What are we talking about again?
We were talking
Division?
about Division 2.
Yeah, it doesn't have that aspect to it at all.
You know, I think it's going to be kind of like Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2. It's just going to be, it might improve things from from the first game, but honestly, I think it's just going to be, it's going to flop. It's, kind of the same game, but, changed differently. It'd be interesting if they overhauled everything and they actually made it a decent game. But looking at Ubisoft's track record, I don't think that's kind of what they're going to do.
The problem I'm seeing in the game market is that they're relying off of their old successes to build better games.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad idea. I mean, games like Far Cry are pretty. They have a decent formula to them. It's just that the developers or the publishers get a little bit too lazy and they neglect parts of the formula, and it makes things pretty bad. Like Primal, I heard Far Cry Primal was terrible.
Oh, it's so shit.
And I think that was because they ventured away from the formula. Although, given props for trying something new, it probably didn't mix very well with the Far Cry feel.
No, but that's a problem actually with video games nowadays. Actually, things in total. Gotta slow that popcorn down. Fuck.
Well, the video game industry has changed since the past 10 years. It's become a big business. It's something bigger than the cinema industry. And it's no longer developers that are in control. It's now the publishers, Activision, Ubisoft, EA. All these companies are in charge of these developers, and they have the final say. That's why we get such crap games, is because these publishers they're speaking money and not the art of game development. So that's why we get these terrible games most of the time. And even
Right.
Bethesda has this issue. Right now, they're pushing for the paid mods type deal, and it annoys the crap out of a lot of the modding communities, because the mods should be free. Always be free. And it tells you something when most mods um, are far better in quality and content than most video game DLCs or
Right.
expansions nowadays, I guess is what they would, call them.
But the problem I see with the games though or the companies, is that when they're making a new game, trying to branch out, make something new, they keep the name of the game. Far Cry Primal, Call of Duty, they all branch out to this new topic, but they keep the name to make more money off of it. But in the end, make their fans unhappy because it's not the game they wanted.
Yeah,
Like, all right, let me point out two things. Far Cry Primal, like we spoke, wasn't the same. It didn't have guns to it. It didn't have the same aspects to it. It didn't even have the same, just controls really. And then you have Infinity Ward with what is it? Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I'm gonna say this right now. It was a good campaign. I'm not gonna lie. They worked on the campaign more than anything else in the game. But it wasn't Call of Duty. I would have loved the game if it wasn't Call of Duty. It was not a Call of Duty game, and yet they tried to branch it out as this new game for Call of Duty. Call of
yeah.
Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty.
And it's that problem that publishers, they use that name because they know no matter how crap that the game may be, it's always going to sell just because of the name.
But the thing
And
is, though, they may make more money if they just drop the name for some games.
that is true. But a lot of the time, the publishers, they're thinking with money. They don't like taking very large risks, and making a new IP is a large risk. It could flop terribly, worse than making a Call of Duty. So the way I see it is that these companies, they're playing it safe. They release a Call of Duty, they know they're guaranteed sales. But if they release a new game and it doesn't sell well, worst of all, it's bad, they're going to lose a huge chunk of money, because these games take millions of dollars to produce. So there is a lot at stake. They've got investors to ease, or talk to and whatnot, and get money from, and then they have to turn that profit over and then pay off the investors and stuff like that. So there's a lot at stake for these companies. The problem is they're playing it safe, and they don't want to try new things. They don't want to try making a new IP, and and all that stuff. I'm not sure if IP is the perfect term. I know I hear it a lot for
Right.
games and stuff like that. I just don't know what the term is. I'll have to look it up. But anyways, the new companies don't want to do the whole new title thing. They're afraid. The only
Okay.
company that could do it is Valve, but mainly because they're completely disconnected. They made their profit from Steam, and they're continuously making their profit. They don't have to go through investors. They are in full control.
All right. Now, branching on this, I want to bring you up something new. A new game that came out off of a company that doesn't rely on its investors too much. It actually makes its own decisions. Nintendo. All right, they have a new Super Smash Bros. Game coming out, and my question for you guys is, how do you think it's gonna go? Do you think it's gonna last their new successful Nintendo Switch, or do you think it's just gonna not rack as many sales as their old game?
Um, in my opinion, I don't know. Nintendo seems to be a decent company. I know they've had a bumpy road with content creators for YouTube and stuff like that. But in terms of video games, it seems like they make pretty okay stuff. I would say it's safe, just because you don't really hear about much about the Nintendo games. I think it'll be pretty decent. I guess. I think the last one, which allowed for mod support, which was amazing, allowed for some really creative people to make really creative content. Um, it could be just as good, if not better. Don't know. I haven't really played a Smash Brother game since I think the first one on GameCube. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
So it's been a long time since I've been connected with Nintendo. I think the last system I got was actually the Wii, um, and had a blast on that. But I can't really say much about Smash Brothers. I haven't played it in a long time. Haven't played any of the new ones. Haven't really keep track of Nintendo and their decisions on things. All I know is some stuff from the past and some of the bumpy parts of things. I think it'll be okay. Honestly, that's my guess. Is it's going to be okay.
All right. Yeah, but that's what I'm loving about some of these companies. You got Nintendo, who you can always trust to make a quality made game at times.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
when it comes to the aspect of it, they don't really change much with shit. They don't really try to how is this try to revolutionize the industry in a bad way. They always find a way to make good ideas and not rely on their investors for any of these topics.
yeah. They kind of just play it safe, and that's pretty good. That makes them a good company. I can't really say anything bad about Nintendo. I mean, I find them to be a decent company. They make good games. I'm sure they've made bad ones. I think I can't really think of any at the moment, but I'm sure they've made some. Um,
Oh, definitely.
but
YouTube, cough cough.
well, that's usually normally just a company thing. That's not really
Yeah.
have anything to do with their games. That's just stuff that they want to control content and copyright stuff.
Splatoon
But
was a pretty
mainly,
bad game.
it's
People liked it.
funny. A lot of people like that game, and
Yeah, a
then
lot of
when you
people
look on the
surprised did.
yeah, and then you look on the Gary's Mod
Oh,
workshop,
ho,
and then you
ho.
realize who it really is impacting. So, some people
HT.S.
look at Splatoon in positive light, and some look at it, in a negative one. But
And some
it's
And then
mainly
some
with the
people
Gary's
look
Mod.
at it in a sexual light.
Yeah,
Well, that's with just about everything.
Sadly, it's a thing.
man, those squid fetishes.
Oh dear. That's not a topic we're not getting into on this podcast.
I mean, just think about it though. They're all wet and slimy.
Okay, next topic.
The white slime. Okay, next topic. All right. All right. Let's see where we go from here.
fucking
Okay, I
damn
think we just got past all the games that are out today, or released or
Well,
announced.
I'm sure there's a ton of them.
There's a ton of them, but those are the three big games that came out. In news.
All right.
Let's see. Fortnite.
trash.
Okay, all right. Oculus today passed HTS Vive in sales. It is now the most used thing for Steam at the moment. Do you guys think VR is going to last? I honestly think it's going to last on myself, but I think it needs improvement to itself and the accessories it uses. What do you guys got to say?
So VR. VR is a very interesting thing, and it's only been even more interesting as time has gone on, as of recently at least. Um, I would like to see VR to grow. In general perspective of VR, I don't own a VR. I'd like to. That'd be amazing. Just right now, though, I think a lot of people would say that there just isn't enough for the VR as of the moment. There's been more games than there were the past 2 years, but I don't think there's certainly enough. And I think there's still a lot of room for it to grow. There's always been innovations. I mean, this kind of concept has been around since I think the either the early or probably late 80s to late 90s, maybe. I know it's been around for a while.
I know my first VR headset was a fucking what are those little things called? Like the ones you put to your eyes and it has a little
Oh
photo
my
reel.
god.
Oh yeah.
You just click it and
Oh,
it
VR
flips to
in
the
the
next
future.
picture.
Whoa! I'm in the prehistoric times.
Whoa.
Oh
Oh my
yeah,
god, I forgot
I
about
can agree.
I don't know. I personally would prefer Oculus over Vive, and that's
right.
my
It's
personal
like
opinion. But
it was like the pioneer of VR. It started this shit.
Yeah.
and it's having a lot of improvements as well. Vive has been a really good thing, but it's not really made a large amount of improvements at all. Uh, I do think that there is definitely room for improvement, and there's a lot more usability and utility use for VR than what we would now think. But I feel like later on we're gonna realize that this VR thing is a lot more important to us as a human race than it actually is normally. Like, I'm not sure exactly what I mean by that, but I don't know. VR porn is
Ooh. All right, and from
You got me
there, I want
sold
to
on
talk
that.
about something new. Haptic feedback is a new thing being implemented in at one point. It's being developed right now. It's really hard to make at the moment. Basically, how it works is you have a glove, right, and then you have strips of like I guess you could say aluminum. I don't know exactly what the material is, but it works like a seatbelt and just kind of like eases you back when you're touching something.
Oh, so you mean
And
it's like
it has haptic
restraint.
feedback on it has a restraint to it, and you could also have haptic feedback on the actual glove itself. Is what they were apparently saying. The guy was like saying he can feel shit on his glove and all that. You know, kind of giving you an essence of something's there,
Right.
which is great for the VR setting.
Yeah, it'd be really
especially
cool.
VR porn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely VR. Oh my god, there's gonna be a shit ton. Do you imagine the feeling of it all?
Line's gonna save himself as a Christian man until marriage, till he marries his VR
Where's my
headset.
lotion? Where's my lotion? There it is.
You found it.
No,
I don't
I'm
know.
kidding. This is my magic in the air. Shea vitamin E shower gel.
Your chia pet?
My Neopet.
Chia.
Alright. So, we all agree that VR is needed, and we definitely want to see it last. But do we think it will last? Is my
I
question.
think it'll
Oh
last.
yeah. It's a product that has shown that there's an interest, there's a market for it, so it will grow. Just right now, it's kind of in its infancy and it's very limited. But I mean, I'm sure you can look at it. There's been more VR games since the past few years, so that it should tell you that there's definitely a market for it and it's growing. The HTC Vive is an example of that because we've gone from the Oculus Rift or the Oculus whatever, which it was just a headset. Now we have headsets and controllers for more VR interactability. So it will grow. It's just going to be a bit slow, and I can't wait for that glove. If there's a glove thing, that'd be really cool, like a glove controller, so you can actually
Yeah.
use the fingers and interact with things a bit more intuitively than with a controller. It seems like the controller is
Right.
a little bit clunky.
It's a little bit, yeah. I personally have a PSVR and downstairs, and it is fun as hell to play. I actually like how the controls feel. Like the controllers, you kind of forget they're there for a second. I just feel like you have two fingers, two giant ass fingers that can hold anything, and you kind of get used to it. But having a hand would just reel you into that because having controllers just throws you back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyway,
but if
sorry about that. Yeah.
no, no, no.
No,
I
no,
was
no, no, no.
no,
You're grouping it.
no,
No, no, no.
no. I think
Waluigi.
I pretty much said what I needed to say. I was going to add on to something, but kind of lost my train of thought. So
Oh my
I
god,
think
my
we're pretty
dog
much
knocked
done
over
with
my
that.
popcorn.
Fuck
My
it
dog
all.
knocked over my popcorn.
Anyways, back on track. Let's get this last topic undergone.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a choice. Do you want to go with let's see here. Movie or Trump?
It hit us with the fat old Trump.
Okay. So in the news, Trump. All right. So basically, somebody, what is it, in the White House was wanting to set tariffs for steel and aluminum. Right? Our two biggest, things in America at the moment for production wise. Now, Trump was like, I can top you there. And he makes a 25% tariff tax. That is huge for people. That causes many job problems. And it helps absolutely nobody out. But he's saying he wants to basically make more job opportunities, all that. Meanwhile, there is no job opportunities in the action being made. In fact, there's going to be jobs lost due to the action of aluminum costing too much.
I know a lot about jobs, believe me.
Like, you got Core's basically saying, hey, we're going to lose a shit ton of jobs because of this, because we're going to have to pay so much for aluminum, which are already back ordered from because so many people want to buy our beer.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily make us lose jobs in America. It would probably make a lot more jobs go to America. For aluminum, at least.
But the problem is, though, outside of aluminum itself, you have people who are going to have jobs that need it, that won't be able to get it, and losing jobs. And there's a lot more people who need aluminum than there is people making it. For sure.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this idea.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I saved the best one for last.
Okay, so if it's taxing aluminum, or whatever, making
Aluminum and steel.
Aluminum and steel. Okay, so this can present problems. You got to remember, depending on what company is who's purchasing these materials, they don't like spending money. As far as I know, no company or person wants to spend more money than they actually have to. So, what ends up happening is a lot of layoffs in order to, make maximum profit if they can. If they'll get rid of people that they don't need or people who are underperforming. And that does kind of goes back and forth. You lose jobs, but you gain jobs, I guess, because then there's positions open for more intuitive and intelligent people who are more capable of doing the job. So it's kind of the way I can see it is a little bit of a win-lose kind of situation. You're
Right.
ruining people's lives, but you're also giving other lives a chance. But it may completely go a different direction than that. There could be a lot more complicated things. Companies may not even be able to afford it with the people that they have, and they may actually have to close down, completely permanently removing job.
All right, and from history standpoint, I want to add some facts to this. There's been 4 times we've actually implemented in this taxing rule. One time it actually worked when we were trying to make Japan back off, right?
Mhm.
That worked. Now, the 3 other times, we lost jobs, we killed our economy for a little bit, and we basically made people suffer for a long while until we ended it.
Honestly, America wouldn't be America if we didn't fuck the economy every once in a while.
Yeah,
We're so good at ruining our economy.
yeah, we do it every single time we somehow come back from this. I don't know
You know-
how. I honestly don't want to come back from this, to be honest.
Why can't we just be safe with the economy? Like, say, hey, this economy's good. We don't need to change anything. Everything's fine. Find a nice middle ground and just stick to it. We don't have to go with.
The only way we
just
improve our
extreme.
economy is when we fuck it up.
Yeah, you got a
Yeah.
point there, but when we repeatedly do it 4 times now, we kind of don't learn.
No, we don't. We really don't, but
We're really bad at learning. That's why our educational system is failing.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the last topic, I guess.
I got a last topic, actually.
Ooh, what's your topic?
Do you guys believe in aliens? Do you think that they are real? And if... Let's just ask that question first. Do you believe aliens are real?
Certainly.
Yes.
I do
mean,
as well.
Scientifically, I would say, yeah, there's a possibility.
Yeah, definitely. Like
I mean,
the wide expanse of space and shit. There has to be at least one subject of that. At very least, one subject of another life on another planet.
now the question is, are they as intelligent, or if not more intelligent than we are? Don't know.
Maybe.
Could
Yeah.
be, maybe not.
Honestly, we have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea. We haven't found anything that's presented full evidence that there would be life on planets. We just have possibilities that there might be.
And we have
But
really
life is
nothing saying there
still
isn't.
life. So, people who say that there are no aliens, there probably is aliens, and they probably take the form of bacteria or little microbes or whatever, little tiny,
That's actually a good
life.
point. Like, crap, they may not appear as like what we expected it to be. Maybe for all we know, be a fucking rock.
Yeah. And a lot of people think, that's where we basically came
Mars is an alien. The whole planet's an alien.
from. You got a point there. That's pretty alien.
Pretty radical, Scooby.
Have you guys seen that that video that the Department of Defense released a while ago? It was some like UFO, like an unidentified flying like vehicle, and it looked resemblantly, well, similar to a UFO, but they released it in. This is a big like step for our government to take as well. That something that the Department of Defense would release, something that they thought was worthwhile to investigate and look at, that looks like a UFO. That to me is like a sign of a big step, and a lot of scientists don't like. A lot of experts and shit, so they just kind of ignore it, right? They're like, oh, this doesn't prove anything. This is just some weird fucking flying thing.
It's a weather balloon.
I don't really blame them on that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, though, like with UFOs and shit, the reason most people don't really believe in it is because we fabricated it ourselves, and it's really hard to believe something that we fabricated into our own movies and shit. You're thinking it was real.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's aliens out there and that we've had contacted them at one point.
Well,
no.
we have radio constantly going out into space, so
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they also use the same radio waves. It doesn't
no.
necessarily mean that they use the same wavelengths as us and shit. But I don't know. I think that we have at one point at least contacted an alien race, and I think, honestly, my theory is that the reason the Cold War never got hot was because of aliens. Honestly.
Oh, you hurt me there. You hurt me.
Well, just remember, keep in mind that the Soviet Union sent a bunch of Soviet stuff and a portrait of baby Lenin into space in hopes that aliens would find it.
Baby Lenin.
What? Let me explain this to me.
So, I don't know the full story on it, but yes, like back in like the 50s or 60s or something like that, they sent it was like a satellite, or a capsule, kind of like a time capsule into space, and it had a bunch of Soviet stuff in it. So like they had like a flag in there. I think they had a portrait of Lenin, a baby Lenin, and some other stuff, I think, and they just shot it out into space with a rocket in the hopes that, like, I think it was in the hopes, I'm not exactly sure what it was, but they just shot it into space, and I think they were thinking, oh, if aliens, if this lands on an alien planet and they see it, they'll think communism's great or something. I don't know.
All of a sudden, aliens now have baby Lenin's picture in a Tesla in space.
It'd be interesting one day, they come to our planet, it's like, we are from the planet of the Soviet Union.
All right, so is that the end to the podcast?
We'll call that an end.
That is an end.
All right. I was about to say
well-
Christopher Robin, but I'm pretty sure we all know about that. It's a movie about a bear that we all love. Aha.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. You know that was like the last movie Walt Disney ever, or last series Walt Disney ever worked on, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Fun fact.
All right, well, that's our fun fact, and we'll be ending it here. Thank you all for tuning in to this little podcast, and, well, we'll see you all in the next episode.
You're gay.
No, you're not. You're a beautiful human being.
You're gay.
Okay.